after the Comey hearings, President Trump did a victory lap, saying he's completely vindicated. But not anymore. FBI Director Robert Mueller reportedly revealed Trump's under investigation for obstructing justice in the Russian probe.
Yeah.
And he found this out on his birthday, no less. Do you think Mueller sent him a card that said, "Happy birthday, you're under investigation"? So, Sonny, what would they have to do? You're the lawyer here. So what would they have to do to actually charge him with obstruction or prove obstruction?
Well, it's a federal crime, and to prove it, they would have to find that he had the specific intent to impede an investigation or a judicial proceeding. And typically that's really difficult to show intent because that's what's in someone's mind. But in this case, it's a little different because he said to everyone, "Can y'all leave the room?"
Yeah.
And then he said, you know, "Can you
why
see
would
your
he
way?"
say leave the room?
Leave the room.
If you didn't have some intention to do something
and that
naughty.
makes the case a little bit easier.
So they have to distinguish between, because people are saying, well, the executive has the authority to fire someone at any point, at any time, but they have to now make the case that there was firing with the intent to impede. So if he just fired him, but they can't find intent, there's no charge whatsoever here?
Well, the intent is more related to when he said, I hope you find your way to letting the Flynn investigation go. But so that would certainly be obstruction of justice. And then the firing would be part of that, right? And he already admitted that he fired him because of the Russia investigation.
Both sides in all the coverage, a lot of people are saying either clearly there's absolutely no obstruction, or what I saw was more like, how can this not be illegal? So where do you think the majority lie on this issue right now? Do you think there's a good chance or not much of a chance that he'll
there certainly is a case for obstruction of justice, but that case would have to go to the Congress, and it's Republican-held Congress. So
and the Congress,
it's unlikely that he'll be impeached.
But the Congress is
very
just
unlikely.
one point. The Congress is going to notice that he has 60% disapproval right now, and that's not going to help Trump at all.
Congress doesn't have
Congress.
a great approval rating either. I mean, let's just keep that in mind too. But my question too, and I know that Trump's camp and his lawyers issued a statement. They're furious that the FBI is reportedly leaking this information.
Right, because Mueller didn't come forward.
No,
and say,
Mueller didn't come forward. And
investigating
again, this is according to the Washington Post. I mean, that's illegal right there.
Look, I think that we can all agree that leaking is appropriate. Leaking is never appropriate, right? Because leaking is that's leaking generally of classified information, and so that's a problem. But I don't think we can play hide the ball here. The real issue is, did the President of the United States obstruct justice? So people want to talk about the leak and not talk about the crime.
So Joy, you brought up an interesting point about approval numbers, though, because, you know, I don't know. When you talk about impeachment and if this coming to Congress, I think a lot of Republicans, honestly, would prefer Mike Pence. I'm not going to lie. I think they would really. So I think that if they're starting to feel that, unfortunately, Donald Trump is an impediment to policy, too. They want to get stuff done, and there's so much distraction here.
Well,
but I don't know. I don't know that they'd be so averse to it.
All I know is that Trump has been all over Twitter calling this a witch hunt. Now, where have we heard that before? That's what Nixon basically called people who were investigating during Watergate. Yeah. You know, you girls don't remember. What am I, the oldest person in the room?
I saw the movie, and I've listened to
So
some
this
of
is becoming the Watergate. I mean, there's a similarities. I mean, both Nixon and Trump denied having anything to do with illegal activities. Both Nixon and Trump attacked the news media and called them the enemy. Both referred to the investigations as witch hunts. A very, very similar sort of thing. They both fired the special investigator. Nixon fired a guy named Archibald Cox.
Special counsel then.
And he's fired Comey. It's very, very similar. And, you know, All the President's Men, the movie, is playing all over the place right now on Catch.
I noticed as this stuff started coming out that was on all the time.
It's on
I was
all
like,
the
hey,
time.
Robert
And you're always saying you got to watch that
Just
movie. You got to
watch
watch
that
great
movie to understand how Woodward and Bernstein really took down Nixon. Basically, two reporters from the Washington Post, which is what's happening now.
You got to keep asking. And I just think there's such an appetite right now. You look at how many people watched James Comey testify. With 20 million
viewers
in daytime.
But I think the good thing about that is that people are paying attention, because we have so many people, including comedians, coming out and saying, I wasn't this political before. Honestly, regardless of which side you fall, participation defines a democracy. Like the voting, the informing yourself. So if nothing else, I think everyone can agree, I'm glad people are tuning in for all of this. It's really good.
Oh, everybody's becoming active. People are interested. The ratings are up in every news show, including ours, because basically we can thank you, Donald.
You need to send some flowers.
Well, they always ask me, say something good about Donald. Thank you, Donald, for making our ratings go up.
The ratings go up.
Doesn't that feel good?
Sound like you mean it, Joy.